Hey guys, what's up? It's Biscuit Horror Reviews. I'm here with a review of the new feature film from Sam Salerno, the director behind, micro budget films like Dark Side of the Womb, which was his feature debut, which I covered on my channel, and I liked quite a bit. It's a fun little movie. It's very, very cheap, not necessarily good, but enjoyable. His follow up to that was Kiss My Ashes, which I was not a fan of. And that was kind of a weird, absurdist comedy. Um, and then he released two short films last year, Death by a Thousand Cuts and Tunnel Vision, both of which I liked, both of which were very, very different movies. And here we have the feature-length version of Death by a Thousand Cuts, which, on top of containing, over an hour of new footage shot for the feature-length version, also features all of the previously pretty much just made out of the previous two short films, which I kind of wondered how it would work because, the first short film, Death by a Thousand Cuts, is a found footage film. The second short, Tunnel Vision, is more of a straightforward kind of, regular narrative, surrealist kind of nightmare film. So I wondered how they would blend together. And Sam's actually surprised me, with how the two stories, not necessarily how they connect, but how he got them to fit together in this film, and it, makes sense and not feel jarring or anything like that. Basically, this film is about a guy who experiences hallucinations. He, carries a camera around with him to record these hallucinations, so that way he can watch them back and make sure that and so that way he can confirm whether or not what he's seeing is a hallucination. After being hypnotized by his therapist, he goes into a weird underground nightmare world where he sees a creepy giant as well as a talking mannequin who hint at some weird things going on in the town he lives in. And then he happens to come across a woman who has been kidnapped and tortured, who he rescues from some weirdos in masks. And it's hard to really account the entire plot synopsis. Let's just say it's about this character. I think his name was Johnny. Uncovering a secret that his town keeps, and it's kind of interesting. So full, cards on the table immediately. I was really looking forward to this film. I was really hyped for it. I really liked the original short film, Death by a Thousand Cuts. To be honest, I haven't watched it since I first saw it. I didn't feel a need to rewatch it because I knew the feature film would come out eventually, and that would contain all of the footage. And all of that footage is still really, really great stuff. Same with the stuff from Tunnel Vision. And they don't clash with each other too much because they all fit within this narrative pretty well. It's just that with one of these films being a kind of realistic, disturbing, found footage gore film, and the other being a surreal nightmare, the rest of the film has to have a tone that I think would work with it. And I really, really hate to say it, but I wasn't the biggest fan of this one because of the tone it decided to take. It takes kind of a supernatural turn, which, I don't have a problem with supernatural films. I mean, hell, the last movie I reviewed was literally Ghost Keeper, a film about, the Wendigo. But I was kind of hoping that it wouldn't be supernatural. I wasn't expecting it to be supernatural, so I guess that's surprising. I guess that's one thing. But, yeah. So in all honesty, I wasn't the biggest fan of this film. I know I'm getting my final thoughts out of the way first. I don't know why, but I just want to say there's things about this film that I really like though. Positives. I think that the film is very, very well shot, which Sam has told me that he has a director of photography who he absolutely loves working with, who is shooting his stuff now, and that director of photography is doing great things, because even though Death by a Thousand Cuts is very obviously a low-budget film. It does not look anywhere near as cheap as Kiss My Ashes did, or, Dark Side of the Womb, or even, it doesn't even look as cheap as Tunnel Vision did. And Tunnel Vision, I would argue, is the cream of the crop when it comes to Sam's ability to create atmosphere and shoot something interesting. But yeah, cinematography is really nice. There's some cool gore effects here and there. The characters are okay, I guess. I never really found myself getting attached to any of them. I think the film has a cool atmosphere. It's kind of interesting, kind of surreal. I know I've already said like a nightmare, but it has that tone to it that just, really gets in there. And you can tell by watching it that Sam is a fan of David Lynch. I really like the editing in the film. The editing is really fucking great, especially during some scenes. I think that's really about it. Now to get into some of the... Also, the writing, I think, is pretty good. Now to get into some of the negatives. The acting isn't very good. There are definitely people who are genuinely really, really trying, and that is admirable, and I respect it. However, some people it doesn't feel like they're really giving their all. And some people, it feels like they're giving their all, and it's admirable, but it's still not good acting, is the problem. That being said, also, visual effects, there's some CG and visual effects done for the film, and don't get me wrong, like, they don't look absolutely god-awful, but, Jesus, do they show does the budget show in, respect, and when you are looking at the visual effects, does the budget of this film really, really show? And that's the big... That's one of the big problems I had was the visual effects just kind of took me out of it. Because sometimes they're all right, they're pretty good. There's use of rear projection for some of the sets in the film, which I really liked. I kind of wish there would have been more of that because it gives the film a really cool look, really cool and kind of unique look in my opinion. And it's just, like, I really don't know what to say about this one. Like, this is one of those reviews where I'm kind of stumped on what to say, because my problems are mostly just things that I personally just kind of didn't appreciate or didn't like, rather than, like, actual problems overall with the film that I think, like, a lot of that I think are, like, unanimous things that people could agree on. This is, like, one of my worst reviews in a while. This is also... I don't even know what I'm fucking doing anymore. Either way, still, the feature-length version of Death by a Thousand Cuts is an extremely admirable, interesting, creepy, albeit pretty flawed, film that I think has a lot of ambition. There's definitely a lot of talent that went into the film, and I just think that it's something that when it eventually comes out, when it eventually is available to stream or buy, I would definitely recommend checking out. It's definitely not Sam's best work. I was hoping to say that this is like his absolute best, but I honestly still kind of think the short film version of Death by a Thousand Cuts just works a little bit better for me personally. But that's just me, Either way, that's it for this one. I'm going to go ahead and give this like a 3, maybe a 3.5 out of 5. You know what? I'm going to go 3.5. I'm feeling generous tonight. But either way, guys, that's it for this one. 2 reviews in a row. Consider yourselves very fucking lucky. I'm going to try to get things together. I really am trying, but it's fucking hard right now. Either way, guys, this is Biscuit Boo Horror Reviews, signing off. Peace.